Good morning. Welcome into Hot Topics, 10 a.m. live here, 10 a.m. Eastern in New York City. So glad that you could be here with us. Hey, we're living in a nightmare. I hate to come on and stream with you live to tell you otherwise, but we are living in a nightmare. The nightmare started in 2016 or 2017 in January, and then we have been basically living in it since, although it subsided in 2021 when Joe Biden took office. And then now we're back in that nightmare, and it seems like the nightmare is getting worse. We thought, the thing where you like run away from the bad guy or the killer in the dream, and then you're like, oh, I got away, and then you turn around, you're like, oh, there he is, and you have to start running again. That's what we're in. We're in a nightmare. Hello, Samara C. Good morning, Don. How are you feeling? Not great. So I got to get to business here because I'm going to talk about how we're living in a nightmare. I've got some people to explain it. And I also am going to show some of the folks who think that they're loving it, right? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, they're loving it. And they won't even be able to afford McDonald's soon. And they have no idea. They're too dumb to even realize it. But they think it's fun and cute. But the rich people are loving it. An American Horror Story, Nicole Luongo. Hey, that's pretty good. I wish we had thought of that. Maybe we should change it to that. It is an American Horror Story. I like that. We should probably change it. Change the title of this show to American Horror Story, because that's exactly what it is. An American Horror Story. Wait till you guys see just how expensive things are getting under Donald Trump. Remember, this is the man who promised that he was going to lower all this stuff. Wait till we're going to give you the evidence. I like evidence, and we're going to show you the evidence. But let me tell you about an American Horror Story that we are following up on, okay? And this is a big story. I'm going to get to what's happening in Washington and the American Horror Story that is everyone. But I just want to follow up on something, and it's important to update on a story that we have been closely covering here for you all. I'm talking about Wendy Williams. She has taken the next step to her battle for freedom. The former talk show host, she's 60 years old, signed an affidavit on Wednesday afternoon asking a judge to end her guardianship. That's according to TMZ. Sources told the outlet that Williams claimed that she regained the capacity to function without her court-ordered guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, who has been in charge of her well-being and finances since 2022. She said she's been living in a nightmare. She's only been outside, I think, in the last 2 months, like twice. Even prisoners are allowed at least fresh air every single day. Insiders also shared that she will allegedly be reevaluated by a doctor next Tuesday, adding the physician was handpicked by Williams' legal team, whom she hired to end her guardianship. So Wendy Williams is working to end this nightmare that she's living in. We should all be so lucky. Let's hope that she's doing well, because we should all be so lucky. Let's hope that we get out of this nightmare as well. Her attorneys reportedly already have a plan in place if the judge turns down the request, with sources telling TMZ that Wendy will demand a jury trial to hear her plea. Don't know if that's possible, but that's what she's going to demand. Estella Debbie says, good for Wendy. It's just the beginning. Free Wendy, says Amanda Belcher. Okay, so again, I'm going to get to the stuff that affects all of us, but this is a story that you have been highly interested in, and this is the interview that they believe possibly changed things for Wendy Williams. She is being interviewed by Harvey Levin over at TMZ. She is in this assisted living facility, which is really for elderly people, most of them. They can't go in. They won't let Wendy out. So they pointed their cameras up at a window and interviewed Wendy via telephone while they put the cameras on the ground, pointing up. I think it's at a fifth floor window from the facility that she's in. It is fascinating. Watch.
Williams is locked in a room in an assisted living facility in New York. That's her. The only way I could interview her was to have a camera in the street, because we can't get a camera in. She can't really have any visitors. She cannot go outside. She's been out twice in the last 30 days. She has no internet. She, and I think rightly, says she feels like a prisoner.
Tell me what your life has been like over the past year. What is it like?
Isolated. Where I am is this place where the people are older. You know what I'm saying? They are in their 90s and their 80s. I eat lunch and dinner in my bedroom. I don't eat out there with the people that live here just because it's so goddamn depressing. There's a bathroom, there's a closet, and the TV, which was purchased by me through the Guardian person.
Are you allowed to go out?
No, I am not allowed to go out. I can call you, but you can't call me.
What about communications? Do you have an iPad or some form of a computer?
I have not. Listen, I've asked the Guardian person for an iPad since years, it seems like, but an iPad. Can I please have my telephone back? Can I please be able to call, my family? What is the problem with me calling and talking to friends of mine? They're not allowed to come in here, friends of mine. You know what I'm saying?
Over the last, say, 30 days, how much time have you been able to spend outside in the fresh air?
In the last 30 days, I went out twice for my teeth. You know what I'm saying? And that would be that.
Wendy, I gotta say, even people who are in prison for murder get an hour a day outside, and you've only been outside in fresh air twice in the last 30 days?
Yes.
Wendy, we are privy to some of the court documents, and your guardian's name is Sabrina Morrissey. And here's what the judge said in this case. The guardian, that's Miss Morrissey, is to permit Wendy as much independence as is practical. This sounds more like a prison than independence.
Hell yeah. Listen, this system has failed. This system has failed from top to bottom regarding this guardian and everybody involved with that. The system has failed. I want my freedom back. How about that?
Wendy's story, that's her personal story, but a lot of Americans are feeling that way about what's happening now in politics. We'll get to that. But can you imagine you worked all your life? You've amassed some degree of wealth. You're a woman who's 60 years old. And basically you're being held hostage in a facility. People get to tell you when you can watch TV, who you can call on the phone. If you have to ask to even get a phone. No one can call in. She has to call out at certain times. And can't even go outside. If she wants to get on the elevator, she has to get permission and someone has to let her go. What do you think of that? Now, Wendy did have some issues, and they talk about it in the documentary, over the years, with alcohol, with addiction. She's saying that they have cleared that up now. She also admitted in this documentary that part of the reason for this guardianship was to protect her money because she said, according to her, that her son had been taking some of the money or using the money in an irresponsible way. And that is how Wells Fargo got involved and said, hey, these are unusual transactions on this account. So it was her own son. So when people say, you should be around your family, you should be around whatever, you don't know what the circumstances are. You don't know what the triggers are. You don't know, pardon me. You don't know who is the person or who are the people that are responsible for some of the behavior and some of the actions around you. But yet and still, she should be able to be with her friends and her family. She should be able to have contact with her. Even deep into Alzheimer's, my dad had more freedom, says Nanner in the chat. So this has been going on for so long. There's been such an uproar. She did an interview with Charlamagne. She did an interview with me. She did an interview with Jason Lee. She did an interview with Harvey Levin over at the TMZ. And now There's some update. There's some breaking news as it relates to Wendy Williams. Let's let Harvey Levin explain it.
Just hours after our TMZ documentary dropped on Tubi about Wendy Williams, the wheels are now in motion to end her guardianship. We found out that Wendy has just signed an affidavit formally asking the judge to terminate the guardianship. She says, and these are the words in this affidavit, we're told, that she has regained her capacity to function normally. It's true, a couple of years ago, she did not have that capacity. But anybody who watches this documentary, I think it's going to be clear that has all changed. She seems like the old Wendy right now. Now, we are also told that next Tuesday, she will be reevaluated by a doctor. And it's a doctor selected not by the Guardian, but by her personal lawyer, who is now working with her to end the guardianship. Wendy says in this affidavit, she is clear. She says she does not have frontotemporal dementia. Now, that's how she had been diagnosed previously. But as we say in this documentary, frontotemporal dementia never gets better. People only get worse. If you watched her in the Lifetime documentary, she was here. Now she's here. It's very clear listening to her, watching her in the documentary. How can she get better if you never get better with that diagnosis? A lot of people, including Wendy, believe she was misdiagnosed. Now, there will be an emergency order to show cause filed a week from today, Wednesday, asking the judge formally to end this guardianship. If the judge says no, we're told Wendy's lawyer will then demand a jury trial, which you can get in New York, where jurors will decide, does Wendy now have the capacity to live as a free woman? That is a big deal. A lot has changed in just hours after this documentary dropped, but this is something that has been a long time in coming for Wendy. I will say personally, I've spoken with her for hours on end, and Wendy Williams is back to being the Wendy Williams we all knew.
That's Harvey Levin over at TMZ. Wendy has signed these documents saying that she needs to be free of this guardianship. There will be some news to come on Wednesday, but we don't know how a judge is going to find. And remember, we're not doctors. They're having doctors observe her. She's saying that she was misdiagnosed, and a doctor's going to re-examine her, and then we'll know on Wednesday something. Probably not the full, not the end of it. But she also revealed, as I said in this document, that her son, Kevin Hunter Jr., may have been the catalyst for her guardianship, as I have been saying to you. You don't know. And I said this before. We don't know. Do you guys remember? I'm always going to be honest with you. And I said to you guys, I want what's best for Wendy. We don't know who the triggers are, who are the people that may be using her, who are the people that may have been taking her money. You don't know. Who are the people that could have been her suppliers or dealers or, giving her alcohol. Enablers, that's what they call them. So I'm not saying that the family is that or any of those things, but you don't know if it's a family, if it's friends, you don't know who it is. And so we're not close enough to the situation. You don't know enough about it. That's why I was very careful about saying you have no idea anything because we haven't read the documents. We're not with her. We don't know. Could be a cousin. It could be whatever. Remember, after Whitney Houston died, her brother admitted that he was the one who started her on cocaine. So everybody should step back when you say she's got to be with her family. She needs to be with this. You don't know. Wendy Williams revealed on Wednesday, according to the reporting, that her son, Kevin Hunter Jr., may have been the catalyst behind her guardianship. Ahead of visiting her family for her father's 94th birthday this weekend, she also will be reunited with her 24-year-old son, whom she said took advantage of her financially and triggered her guardianship. That, again, is per TMZ. The radio veteran opened up about the mishandling of her money in her new documentary. TMZ presents Saving Wendy. The guardianship came after Wells Fargo noticed an influx of unauthorized withdrawals. Williams believes her son and others were making the purchases, but he's denied any wrongdoing. I'll read that again. Williams, Wendy, believes her son and others were making the purchases, but he's denied any wrongdoing. You never know. Don't cast judgment. Like I said, Lanice Smith says, like you said, Don, you cannot trust anyone. Look, I'm not saying that he has denied any of this, but I'm just saying you don't know. Every woman is saying, oh, Wendy, she needs to be free. She needs to be with her family. She says, you don't know. You don't know who the source of her problems are. Look, her niece, very nice lady. Her sister, very nice lady. I don't think, it would be awful if they were involved, but I think that they have her best interest at heart. But you don't know. While her son, Kevin Hunter, apologized for past mistakes and inappropriate behavior, the court is not convinced that he can keep her safe and wouldn't willingly or unwittingly expose her to financial exploitation. TMZ reported per court documents from last September. You don't know. When I said that I wanted what was best for Wendy and perhaps having some level of guardianship was the best thing for her, some of you are outraged. Don, what are you talking about? F you, free Wendy. I'm like, you don't know, and you don't know Wendy, and you haven't been around her. I have. I've always maintained that she needed more autonomy, more freedom. But some of this guardianship, some of it may have helped her. It may have kept her with some money in the bank. In the documentary, now you guys, I'm not speaking out of school here because this is what she told Harvey Levin at TMZ, and I quote, "My son, he overstepped his boundaries in terms of me. He overstepped his boundaries, and he was inappropriately using my money without telling me crap about it." She continued, like, is he stealing from me? Look, all I know is that in terms of what I'm dealing with, this is still going on because that's when my money got frozen at Wells Fargo. Thank God. No more money stealing from my son and the other people. You guys, some of these folks lit into me when I said that. Because you don't know who the enablers are. You don't know who the people are who are doing damage, people who are doing the damage. Sometimes it's the people who are closest to you. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just saying in general. And also, you're not medical professionals, mental health professionals. You don't know. And we don't know. I'm just going to say, hold your horses, cool your jets, because we don't know what's going to happen when the doctor examines her. And there may be a whole lot of disappointed people out there. But I do maintain, again, that Wendy needs to have more freedom. And there are people who are of sound mind and body that I've said before, that have run through their money. And just because someone may have a diagnosis of something, it doesn't mean that you can take their rights away from them. So we'll see how this all plays out. But do you guys understand what I'm saying? And I'm doing that. I think that's from a place of compassion. I think that's from a place of compassion. Because what if they let her free? Again, I'm not saying this has happened. Or anyone, Britney Spears, anybody who's been in conservatorship or guardianship, and you let them free and you say, oh, they should be with their family, and their family's the source of the problem. You guys think I'm wrong? Am I wrong? Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I'm not saying that her family is, but I'm saying is you don't know. And everybody, she sounds great. She sounds great. Oh my gosh, why can't she do this? She sounds this. You don't know. The guardianship may have helped her. She said, that's when Wells Fargo got a hold of my money and held my money. She says, thank God. She says, thank God. Lil Cat says you're wrong. How are you wrong? How am I? You tell me how I'm wrong. Do you know Lil Cat? Unless you meant you're not wrong. Tell me how. Okay. Do you think I'm wrong? Ursula Ruiz says most of the time it's family. I don't believe it's in this case. I don't think that. I'm just saying that I just get when people are like, excuse me, guys, I'm trying to turn the camera off when I do this, but I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Most of the time, again, usually it's like the closest people, the people who are closest to you, the people who are buddying, even your friends. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think Lil Cat needs some explaining to do. But again, look, it's her money. She can do what she wants to do with it. But had Wells Fargo not come in, she might not have any right now. She might have been on the street, as they say, begging bread. And at one point, nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm sorry. That's it. I'm done. Okay? So look, I love Wendy. Wendy, and if you're watching, I love you. I wish you the best. Alex, I wish you the best. Miss Finney, Alex's mom, I wish you the best as well. And whatever I can do to help Wendy, I will. And I know the family. So don't, and I know Wendy. So don't even try it, okay? I'm not saying that I'm wrong. You have no idea what's going on. Okay, so speaking of living in a nightmare, let her live her life. Amen. I agree with that, Lomax Brand. I agree with that. Let her live her life. And America wants to live her life too. There was someone who was on the TikTok when I said that we are living in an American nightmare. You can say an American Horror Story. And they said it was an American nightmare, American Horror Story for liberals or Democrats. Tong Fang or whatever it is. I think it was Tom Fang in TikTok. You're wrong and dumb. And you're sorry. I hate to call you stupid. You're a buffoon. Because the people who are going to suffer the most from this are Donald Trump supporters, are folks in red states. You think you're having fun now until there's no Head Start for your kids. You have to pay for your kids' education. There are no school lunches. There are no programs for veterans that you usually get. It's a nightmare. Now, do you guys have some time? If you have some time, I want you to listen to this because it very much explains what is going on. You guys know that again, that I'm not of any political party. And so sometimes, you never know where the common sense is going to come from. And I believe the common sense that you need to slow it down and just listen, even though it's not hyperbolic, even though it's not sexy, you need to listen to someone who is making sense. And so if you are a MAGA person and you think that this is all fun and games, then I want you to listen. By the way, I want you to hit the thumbs up wherever you are. Make sure you hit the likes. Make sure you subscribe. We're growing quickly, and I want to keep that momentum going. Subscriptions are free. It's right at the right under the Don Lemon Show logo on the bottom right of your screen, depending on what platform you're watching us on. And you can become a member. It's easy. The membership link is in the top of the chat. If you're watching us live, go to the top of the chat, hit that link. It says, if you want to become a member, it's got my face on it, and it's very reasonable. Everyone can afford it. We have people who even donate memberships. So I want you to sit back. I'm just going to take my time a little bit here. And I want you to listen to where we are now in this American nightmare. And then I'll tell you about who is going to suffer the most, because folks think, this is fun. The libs are being owned. Actually, it's the MAGA folks who are being owned, except the only people who are going to work out, the rich MAGA folks are whew, they should be celebrating. I'd be, if I was MAGA and I was rich, I'd be on my private plane just traveling, going wherever, because I'm going to get richer and richer no matter how much of my money I'm going to that I would spend. So I'd be like, let's go. Fire up the the private jet. Let's go. Our dude's in the White House. And the poor folks who voted for him are going to be like, wait, what? And some of them are too uninformed, let's put it that way, to even realize it. Here we go. Here's Bernie Sanders.
I do not often find myself in the habit of thanking Elon Musk, but I must confess that he has done an exceptional job of demonstrating a point that a few of us have been making for years, and that is the reality that we live in an oligarchic society in which billionaires dominate not only our politics and the information we consume from media, but our government and economic lives as well. That has never been clearer than it is today. But given the news and attention Mr. Musk has been getting over the last few weeks as he illegally and unconstitutionally dismantles government agencies, I think it is an appropriate time to ask the question that the media and most politicians don't seem to be asking. What do he and other multi-billionaires really want?
Pause.
What is their end game?
Did you hear what Bernie Sanders says? He's been saying the same thing that I have been saying. They sit there during the press conferences and they don't even fire back. I'm talking about the media. They normalize these MAGA folks by putting them on television, by structuring stories around them as if it is normal. Bernie Sanders is saying, what is the end game here? Why is no one pointing that out? Especially the media. Open your ears. Just sit down a little bit as you're having coffee or tea or whatever. Maybe you're on a break at work, wherever it is, if you're driving. Maybe you want to pull over. Maybe you want to go sit in the parking lot for a minute. But watch this. Listen.
In my opinion, what Musk and those around him are aggressively striving for is not novel, it is not complicated, and it is not new. It is what ruling classes throughout history have always wanted and have always believed is theirs by right. More power, more control, and more wealth. And they don't want ordinary people, that's you, and democracy getting in their way. They want it all. Elon Musk and his fellow oligarchs believe government and laws are simply an impediment to their interests and what they are entitled to. In pre-revolutionary America, before the 1770s, the ruling class governed through a doctrine called the divine rights of kings. The belief that the King of England was an agent of God and he was not to be questioned by mere mortals. In modern times, we no longer have the divine right of kings. What we now have is an ideology being pushed by the oligarchs, which says that as very, very wealthy people, often self-made, often as the masters of revolutionary new technology, it is their absolute right to rule.
Pause.
In other words,
is Bernie Sanders lying here? He's talking about the divine rights of kings. Lenny Smith, perhaps, and others. Non-elected officials having your personal information, conflicts of interest, government contracts. Have you guys figured out how much, when I tell you, thank you, Kev, the creator, this is why they keep us busy, dizzy, and distracted, because they're making more money. So I said, if I was a MAGA wealthy millionaire or billionaire, I'd be ecstatic right now. Hire your staff to watch the money. Don't really have to work, because all you have to do is just put it in the stock market and we'll just keep investing and you're going to make more money. And then the poor rubes, the guys who like wear the red hats and go to the rallies, right, and actually vote in numbers, mass numbers, they're being taken advantage of and they don't even realize it. They think it's funny. Oh, we're owning the libs and they hate this. Okay. You're fighting over a drag show. And then wait till you hear how much money these billionaires are making. Are you making this much money? Are you making money on investments without even working, without even trying? Keep going.
These modern day oligarchs are our kings. And it is not just power, it's incredible wealth that they have. Today, Mr. Musk is worth $402 billion. Zuckerberg is worth $252 billion. Bezos is worth $249 billion. With combined wealth of over $900 billion, these three people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Not surprisingly, since Trump was elected, their wealth has soared. Musk has become $138 billion richer. Zuckerberg has become $49 billion richer. And Bezos has become $28 billion richer, all since Election Day.
Pause it, please, Andy.
Meanwhile,
back it up. I just want you to hear that again. And you can pump the volume a little bit if you can. I don't know, maybe the highs that go. But I want to hear all three of this since Election Day. Let's go back. I want you to hear the wealth. Go back, please.
absolute right to rule. In other words, these modern day oligarchs are our kings. And it is not just power, it's incredible wealth that they have. Today, Mr. Musk is worth $402 billion. Zuckerberg is worth $252 billion. Bezos is worth $249 billion. With combined wealth of over $900 billion, these three people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Not surprisingly, since Trump was elected, their wealth has soared. Musk has become $138 billion richer. Zuckerberg has become $49 billion richer. And Bezos has become $28 billion richer, all since Election Day. Meanwhile, while the very rich become much richer, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paychecks. 85 million are uninsured or underinsured. 25% of seniors are trying to survive on $15,000 a year or less. 800,000 are homeless, and we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. Do you think for 1 second that the oligarchs give a damn about working people? Trust me, they don't. Musk's decision to dismember USAID means that tens of thousands of the poorest people around the world will go hungry or die of preventable diseases. But it's not just abroad. Here in the United States, they will soon be going after the healthcare, nutrition, housing, and educational programs that protect the most vulnerable people in our country, all so that Congress can provide huge tax breaks for them and their fellow billionaires. As modern-day kings who believe they have the absolute right to rule, they will sacrifice without hesitation the well-being of working people to protect their interests. Further, they will use the enormous media operations they own to deflect attention away from the impact of their policies while
Are you guys
they
listening to
entertain
that?
us.
Pause, please. Okay, pause. Did you hear what they say? They will use the power of the media that they own to deflect and to keep you ignorant. Are you listening? While they entertain us to death. I told you about, it's a show, right? It's a show. When you look at that briefing every day, That young lady who comes out there and then she answers, and she's so like, this is what we're going to do. And the media who's lying, we're going to get rid of them because they're putting out a false narrative. You next. You're like, what am I getting out of this? And why are you so hostile? You work for the people in that room who are asking questions for the people they work for, which is the American people. So you're a public servant. So why are you going? And then that's what we're going to do because it's going to be the Gulf of America. Next question. You're like, whoa, wait. And some of you like it. And then they go back and forth with the reporter and nothing gets accomplished. And then later the night, there's another thing and people are yelling around a table and nothing. It's like, it's all entertainment. It is solving nothing. And you don't even realize like it's all from the companies who own the entertainment companies who own the media companies. And they're deciding what you watch and how it is framed and what they can talk about there. I know. You guys now talking about, I love freedom, Don. That's because Don doesn't have to do that shit anymore. And Don is old. And old people be knowing. Like I said, I want you to listen to this because it's not sexy. He's not like, he's not getting animated like I do sometimes. Now, you know Bernie can't get animated. He is very pragmatically didactic, just sort of telling you what is happening. Pay attention, people. Wake up. Listen.
Mr. Musk owns Twitter. Mr. Zuckerberg owns Meta, which includes Facebook and Instagram. And Mr. Bezos owns the Washington Post and Twitch. Further, they and their fellow oligarchs will continue to spend huge amounts of money to buy politicians in both major political parties.
Pause.
Bottom line.
Okay, so pause. So he's mentioned the folks who own the social media companies. Now, I want you to think about this just so you know. When I tell you to turn the TV off, I just started saying that because Kendrick says it, right? Think about, so they own the social media companies. Think about the entertainment companies that own the corporate media companies where you get your information from. Fox, 20th Century Fox, or News Corp. Comcast, NBC, MSNBC. They're spinning MSNBC off. Warner Brothers, CNN. Disney, ABC. Paramount, CBS. Are you guys listening? Keep calling.
The oligarchs, with their enormous resources, are waging a war against the working class of this country, and it is a war that they are intent on winning. Now, I'm not going to kid you. The problems this country faces right now are extremely serious. The economy is rigged. Our campaign finance system is corrupt. And we are struggling to control climate change, an existential threat to our planet, among many, many other important issues. But this is what I do know. The worst fear that the ruling class in this country has is that Americans, black, white, Latino, urban and rural, gay and straight, young and old, that all of us will come together to demand a government that represents all of the people in our country,
pause,
not
please.
Just the wealthy few.
Okay, pause. Did you hear what he said? I say that all the time. I say that all the time about if Black people and Latino people and gay people and women and could just get together and realize the power that we have, you would frighten all of these people. Someone on the TikTok says, didn't Democrats pay media, says Gravo. When people say that it's the liberal media, they have no idea what they're talking about. It's not the liberal media. It's actually the other way around. That whole liberal media thing is a fake thing, just like when people say, oh, the war on Christmas. They do that so that they can push the media to the right and they can push you into a certain direction where you are thinking that, oh, I can't listen. It make you not trust the media. And then they push the media so much to one direction that sometimes then you can't trust them. So that whole thing about the liberal media, it's not the liberal media. The media is not liberal at all. Because if the media was liberal, we wouldn't be here. We would not be here. If the media was liberal, you would not be seeing wealthy media figures sitting next to Donald Trump at his inauguration. Come on now. Is this thing on? Hello, Semblance? Semblance? Is this on? Can you hear me? Am I the only one in this room? Am I the only one? Maybe the microphone isn't working. But you guys can hear Bernie. Here it is.
The oligarch's nightmare is that we will not allow ourselves to be divided up by race, religion, sexual orientation, or country of origin, and will together have the courage to take them on. Will this struggle be easy? Absolutely not. And one of the reasons for that is that the ruling class of this country will constantly remind you that they have all the power. They control the government. They own the media. You want to take us on? Good luck, they will say. There is nothing you can do about it. But our job right now, in these very difficult times, is to not forget the great struggles and sacrifices that millions of people have waged over the several centuries to create a more democratic, just, and humane society. Think about it. Over the last number of centuries, how many people have stood up and fought? And when they were doing that, you know what their contemporaries said? They said, hey, you want to overthrow the King of England to create a new nation and self-rule? Forget about it. Impossible. You want to establish universal suffrage, right of all people to vote? Impossible. Can't happen. You want to end slavery and segregation? Impossible. You want to grant workers the right to form unions and end child labor? Can't be done. Impossible. You want to give women control over their own bodies? Who are you kidding? Impossible. Can't be done. You want to pass legislation to establish Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, a minimum wage, clean air and water standards? Impossible. In other words, as Nelson Mandela told us, everything is impossible until it is done. In these difficult times, despair is not an option. We've got to fight back in every way we can. We have to get involved in the political process, run for office, connect with our local, state, and federal legislators, donate to candidates who will fight for the working class of this country. We have got to create new channels for communication and information sharing. We have to volunteer not just politically, but to build community locally. Mm-hmm. Whatever we can do is what we must do. Needless to say, I intend to do my part, both inside the Beltway and traveling throughout the country, to stand up for working families and to take on the oligarchy. In the days, weeks, and months ahead, I hope you will join me in that struggle. We can win, we will win, we must win. Thank you very much.
So that's what I want to tell you guys. Do not despair. It ain't over, because all those things that he said, you can't do this for women, you can't do that, you can't end slavery, you can't do that, and we did it. And then now they're trying to take us back. Are you going to allow them to take us back? You have more power than you realize, but you got to get together. You have to organize. You have to realize that you have more power. You cannot be afraid of your own shadow. You have to realize the game that is being played. This only ran once years ago, and they stopped running it because it was too true. It's a cartoon. It's from Saturday Night Live. I want you to watch it, and I'm going to explain to you more of the game and what you can do. Here it is. I just want to make you aware.
I believe the whole media is controlled by a few corporations thanks to deregulation by the FCC.
Disney, Fox, Westinghouse, and good old GE.
They own networks from CBS to CNBC.
They can use them to say whatever they please and put down the opinions of anyone who disagrees.
Or stuff about PCBs.
What are PCBs?
They come from electric power plants built by Westinghouse and GE.
They can give you lots of cancer that can hurt your body.
But on network TV, you rarely hear anything bad about the nuclear industry.
Like when Westinghouse was sued for fraud.
Which time?
When GE made defective bolts, it was an unreported crime. Or when it was boycotted for operating nuclear bomb plants just to squeeze a dime.
That's a footnote, by the way.
A footnote protects you from folks who doubt what you say. Now maybe the voices in my head will go away.
But the big shots don't care. They're all sitting pretty thanks to corporate welfare.
What's that now?
They get billions in subsidies from the government. It's supposed to create jobs, but that's not how it's spent. They use tax and soft money to support congressmen who will vote for weapons programs again and again and let them dump toxic waste where the young ones play.
INGE made the bullets that shot JFK.
It only ran once. I'm surprised it even ran once. Someone said in the chat that they remember that. Now, let me show you that. I'm going to put this up because we're talking about people effing around and finding out and how MAGA is so happy about what's happening. This is who is going to be hit the hardest. The red areas. So this is going to be, so heavily red areas will be hit hardest like a hammer by Trump's agenda. SNAP enrollment as percent of county population. So these are the people who are enrolled in programs where people need assistance and programs that are being cut. Now, look. I don't see New York in there. Oh, look, California's not on there either. Oh, Illinois is not on there. Well, you see Texas, you see Louisiana, you see Florida, you see Arkansas, you see Oklahoma. But you love it. My gosh, we love it. The folks in the green are the lowest. House Republicans have released a budget resolution. They are aiming to cut Medicaid by at least $880 billion and cut SNAP by at least 20%. Now, this is what the Republicans are doing in the House. Now, imagine what their other folks are doing, too. Just the Trump administration on its own, cutting these funds that a judge has halted, but they're still doing it. So, these are the folks in the red areas, not the rich people, but the poor people who wear the red hats and go to the rallies and buy the merch and who live paycheck to paycheck. They're going to be the ones. And then the blue states are going to have to help the red states. And then the red states are still going to demonize the blue states. Thank you, Donna W. Blue states help out red states. Yeah, blue states fund red states. Blue states fund red states. So all of those promises that were made, right away, I'm going to do this, and then right away, it's going to do that. It has been a couple weeks, and right away, none of this shit has happened. As a matter of fact, it's gone the opposite way. You think prices, remember, he said right away, I'm going to do it, and that's going to cause the price of goods and groceries, that's going to go down. Check out this video. It's from our friend Antoine C. Wright.
My plan will rapidly defeat inflation, quickly bring down prices, and reignite explosive economic growth. We will stop inflation. We will make America affordable again. We have tremendous potential in this country.
The president's tariffs are expected to have a major impact on the price American shoppers pay.
Tariffs that could raise prices for many products.
It'll also bring your grocery bill way down.
Consumers can expect to see increases on items like avocados, berries, and meat products.
The word grocery, and it's sort of simple, terrible word, but it sort of means like everything you eat.
Consumers should also brace for higher prices at the pump.
For the auto workers who have been so incredible.
Analysts have said that tariffs like this would be devastating to the auto industry and would lift the cost of the average car by $3,000.
Our Republican colleagues, they've done nothing as it relates to lowering the high cost of living.
This is not something that's going to have a good effect for consumers anytime soon.
President Trump says it will make the economy stronger.
The Dow Jones, oof.
We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. Groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. You know, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries.
Donald Trump got hired saying he was going to lower grocery prices. 2 weeks in, he's doing something that's going to do the absolute opposite.
Businesses don't pay for increases, consumers do.
True. 100% true. Are you guys listening to this? And then the headline, January inflation rate higher than expected. What does that mean for markets? Egg prices. Don't we have something about how folks are like waiting in line, or do we have something like that? They're waiting in line and they are limiting the amount of eggs that you can buy in stores, and some stores don't have them. But remember, under Joe Biden, they said that he could fix it and should fix it, but he just didn't, or didn't know how. And now under Donald Trump, who said he was going to fix it, and then when he got into office says he couldn't, and now they're higher than ever. I don't take glee in that. I'm just pointing it out to you. I want to do like a cult deprogramming. I wish I need to go take some classes on how to deprogram a cult. I try to just give you the information so that you can think for yourself. But some people are bombarded so much by right-wing conservative media with misinformation that it's hard for them to get out of it. That spin cycle, that echo chamber. Wholesale egg prices have blown way past record highs, analysts say. Is that just a full screen? Can you scroll on that or no? Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Wholesale egg prices have eclipsed record levels as the U.S. scrambles to contain a bird flu outbreak, and consumers may soon see more sticker shock at their local grocer as a result. But when the Biden administration told you, look, there is a bird flu epidemic, and it has nothing to do with the inflationary forces, or economic forces, it is just quite simple. It's simple. It's supply and demand. You're demanding it, but there's not enough of supply because the eggs are not edible. Remember the incredible edible egg. Egg price increases could be only the beginning, says Deborah Vett. No, it is only the beginning. There are reports. Producers, if you can find me some, just throw it up there. There are reports that it is only the beginning. It's not just eggs. But you were promised right away, it's going to take down the inflation. It's going to make things cheaper, and it's going to make America great again. And you fell for it, didn't you? You know who's not complaining about egg prices? Rich people. A lot of folks in blue states. A lot of folks who have, they're so rich they have farms in their backyards. They just go out in the backyard and say, go get me some of those eggs back there. The folks who don't cook, who have chefs, whose wealth have grown exponentially since Donald Trump was elected. Excuse me. They're not scared. Not just eggs. Prices for groceries high in nearly every aisle. Is this a report? Should we play this report or no?
Yeah, we can play it.
Let's check out this report, y'all.
With what could be impacting your wallet. Eggs aren't the only thing that are pricier at the grocery store.
Yeah, many of our viewers are experiencing sticker shock across the board. Egg on 9's Midtown reporter Eddie Celaya is at a grocery store off Grant and Stone, finding out how shoppers are feeling.
Oh,
feeling.
If you've been to the grocery store lately, you've probably noticed some items like milk, baked goods, and beef have gone up in price since the pandemic. According to the USDA's Consumer Price Index, 2025 could be more of the same.
Grocery prices are expected to rise 2% in 2025, according to the Consumer Price Index. That could mean more price changes for people like Ann Randolph.
I have to cut back. Not the necessary. No, I don't buy.
She's not alone. People are seeking out ways to lessen the financial load.
Try to cook in bulk, I think, so we can save money.
Yeah,
you know, and
cook in the home.
Yeah, cook in your home.
Staples like milk and bread are more expensive. The CPI indicates those are up 24% and 40% respectively since 2020. Then there's meat.
No way. Oh, no way. You steak every week. No way.
Better meat, yes. Like the prices, I think, increased.
Prices are up across the board for nearly everything since 2020. But for one couple, it still beats eating out.
Because like restaurants are feeling it too, so they've increased their prices.
Yeah, very.
That's good. Okay, so here's the thing. When I tell you, you know who's not concerned about it? The people who eat at restaurants every single night. Because they just pay. They just put down their credit card, the Amex. They're not worried about the prices of grocery, but you didn't get it. And it's going to be the poor people who voted for Donald Trump. My question, though, is why are the MAGA folks still so angry? You know, you see them in the chat, you see them, in the comments on social media, you see them, it's like, you guys won. Why are you so mad? Is it because I feel like, a child? It's almost like folks like us who are of sound mind, who can process what's going on with a clear mind. It's like a child who says, when you're like, Jimmy, when they're having like a meltdown and you don't know why, you're like, well, Jimmy, why are you having a meltdown? And you're like, well, what are you? And they can't articulate why they're having a meltdown. It's just because for the older people, they have been, their daddy lied to them, says Exclusive Honey in the chat. That's right. So because they can't articulate why they're so mad, because none of what they wanted is coming to fruition. They're just still getting bombarded with stuff like Drag Queen Story Hour and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wait, and Gulf of America and plastic paper straws. And you're like, wait, what? But your groceries aren't getting any cheaper. Your services are getting more limited. And so I think that's part of the reason why they're so angry, but they just don't know how to articulate it. And because they can't, it's called cognitive dissonance. They can't fathom or have I don't know if it's the brain cells or whatever to figure out like, hey, I've been lied to. None of this is happening. Is that why they're so angry? Yeah. Fox News keeps feeding them fear and lies. Claudia Ortiz, you're right, 100%. They get from conservative media and conservative politicians fears and lies because that keeps them in the loop that they want to keep them in. And then it keeps those people in power because if they're angry, hey, it's the Black people, it's the Latino people, it's the women who are taking our jobs. They took our jobs. If it wasn't for them, our prices would be cheaper. If it wasn't for those people, I would have a higher station. If it wasn't for those people, I would get that promotion. And none of that is true. If it's a merit-based society, most of those people perhaps would be an even lower station than they are now. But you can't fathom. That's tough. That's hard to comprehend. That's hard to accept. Hard pill to swallow. This TikToker wants to know, why is MAGA still so mad? They won. Let's examine this.
Question for the maggots. So y'all got everything you wanted, right? Presidency, majority Senate, majority House, majority Supreme Court. Every single ball that could possibly be in your court is there right now. What exactly more is it that you need in order to stop bitching about any and everything? Because I still see insidiously, y'all are madder than you were before. So much for owning the libs. Are you not happy? And this is, of course, just the exhausting beginning of what we're bound to witness unfolding over the course of the next 4 years, which is you lot having all of the power and subsequently having to reconcile with the inevitable revelation that black people, trans people, Mexican people, whoever else you have a fucking problem with for some reason, are not the root causes of your issues. You are miserable, hateful, bitter, spiteful bitches because that's who you are and always have been. We could get rid of all of the minorities, all of the queer people in this country, and your ass would still be sitting there mad as fuck, hating yourself, hating your life, hating your job, hating your spouse, hating your children, because you're just a mad ass bitch and nothing will ever make you happy. Hell, if we did that, y'all would likely just start discriminating against the white people who have browner hair and browner eyes than you. Y'all are chasing your fucking tails and forcing all of us to watch.
Look, you guys, I love when I see real people on social media and not talking heads when they 100% true. You're sitting around listening to conservative radio all day, and then you watch the Fox News all day, or the Newsmax, or the News Nation, or the News whatever, or the whatever is that just keeps blaring the same angry bullshit to you, and you keep believing it, no matter how much you win. Okay, you won. You have the levers. Donald Trump has all the levers of power. He has every branch of government. And still, your prices are not being lowered. None of what you wanted. All of this other distraction stuff about which bathroom. Do you really care which bathroom people go to? Do you really care about the maybe 40? Now think about where you live. Let me just put it in this perspective. How many elementary schools, junior high schools in your town, in your area? So imagine that. Like there are tens. Sometimes there are hundreds in municipal and metropolitan areas. Now think about all over the country, how many schools. Are you really mad about like maybe 40 trans athletes? Most people are not even affected by it at all. Now, if you are, maybe it's an issue for you. But if your child is really that good in something, they're going to excel. Think about the people who did not get scholarships, people who weren't the first round draft picks, they didn't do whatever. They're going to be fine. So are you really upset about that? Are you really concerned about that? Is that really the problem? Or is that just a distraction for you to keep you, as they say, in chains? Huh? I heard of 10 trans women in college sports. 10. Is that your real issue? That's why you're so angry, because you keep doing, they're like, okay. But they keep doing the dumb little stuff for you. And then you're like, but wait a minute, my life still hasn't changed. Wait, what? So you're mad. That kid is not wrong. Now, I want to know how you guys feel about this. And this is some salty language, okay? So just get ready. You guys ready? If you have kids, move them. Because I know a lot of folks who are feeling this way, especially of a certain hue. I'm just going to be honest. So this is going to be, you better listen to this one. I'm telling you. Because you know how they said black women are like, okay, y'all do this thing. But a lot of us are having a hard time trying to figure out why some people are still dancing. Okay, come on now. You guys ready for a truth bomb? Maybe you may feel different about it. No, this is not for the faint of heart. Roll it, says El Crisp. Okay, roll it.
If this isn't racism from the felon occupying the Oval Office, then what is? Military branches are no longer allowed to recruit from Beta, the black excellence of the... If this isn't racism from the felon occupying the Oval Office, then what is? Military branches are no longer allowed to recruit from Bea, the black excellence of the year awards.
This is the one that I was thinking about.
This is
not the one I was thinking about. I sent another one. overnight. Did you guys get that one?
I'll look for it.
I sent a different one overnight. I got people all revved up. I got y'all all revved up. I will point out the one that I sent. Because let's see if I can find it. Maybe I didn't send it to you guys. But again, like I said, this one is not for the fan. Oh, here it is. I'm going to send it now. I did not see the one that you guys just put up. Do you think it's appropriate? Does it speak to what I was saying?
I think that's more a reflection of DEI policies not actually being about merit.
Okay, let's play that one, and then I'll play the other one. Let's listen to it. Why not? We'll learn together. Here we go.
This isn't racism from the felon occupying the Oval Office, then what is? Military branches are no longer allowed to recruit from BEA, the Black Excellence of the Year Awards. This is a hub of black talent in all categories of STEM and a routine spot for all military branches to go recruit from because they recognize how valuable that talent is there. Because of our pro-white administration, they're no longer allowed to recruit from there. DEI, all this conversation about DEI was never about qualifications, because if it was, they would be sprinting there to go get that talent. But because they're talented and black, they don't want them. And that makes sense. Look at who the new Secretary of Defense is, Pete Hegseth. He was reported by fellow officers when he was in the military for being a white supremacist, removed off of details because of his pro-white ideology. And what has he done since he became the Secretary of Defense? He ordered that all diversity months be removed, and even on the DoD website, it says identity months are dead at the DoD. That means no Pride Month, no Black History Month, no Women's History Month, no Native American History Month, no Asian Pacific Islander, nothing. He removed anything that wasn't pro-white immediately when he got into his position. And now what has he done as well? He's like, I see that there's highly qualified people that can help out the military, but they're black, so don't go there anymore. It's always been about whiteness. Stop letting them gaslight you.
Interesting. Now, I don't know about the part where he said Pete Hegseth was reported for white supremacy. I think maybe something they were that he was there was somehow something dangerous, but I don't believe that part is correct. That he was reported for white supremacy. But this gentleman is not wrong, because if you're looking for excellent talent, a diverse, excellent talent, then wouldn't you go where that is? Do we have the other person now?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, so this is the one I want you guys, I'm telling you. But if you are a person of color, you know how this man feels. All right, here we go. Make sure you start it from the beginning. I warned you.
This is why we shouldn't be friends with black Trump supporters no more. We shouldn't allow these people around our family members no more. This is the reason why. When them racist motherfuckers went to Cincinnati, Ohio, and planted that hate shit, not one black Trump supporter came out and said something about that. Not fucking one of them. These people came into their communities and spread hate, and not one black Trump supporter that I've seen came out and said nothing about it. This is why we shouldn't be friends with these people no more. These people think they not black no more. They somehow think they got a black body, but they're a white man or a white woman. Y'all, we cannot trust these people no more. I sat on this platform for months and argued with black Trump supporters, content creators, about their lives. But not one of them clowns said anything about those white racists who went down to Cincinnati. Not one. Not one. It can't be that serious. Either you love Trump that fucking much, or y'all hate black people that fucking much. But remember, if a police officer pull you over, he ain't gonna ask your dumb ass if you a Trump supporter. If your ass get treated like a piece of shit, they ain't gonna ask you if you a Trump supporter. You still gonna be fucking black. So y'all, we don't need to be friends with these people. These people are not trustworthy. We cannot trust these people. If they won't come out and denounce what them white fucking racists did in Cincinnati, how can we trust them to be around us? How? I don't want none of these people around me. If I find out you're a Trump supporter that's black, I get away from your ass as fast as I can. I've been doing that shit since the election was over. I lost a good friend because he's a black Trump supporter. He's not trustworthy. So y'all, if y'all got any black Trump supporter, friends or family members, keep an eye on their ass because they cannot be trusted. If they couldn't denounce a white racist group going into a black neighborhood, they said nothing about it. Nothing. Either they love Trump that fucking much, or they hate black people that fucking much. So keep them motherfuckers out of y'all lives, y'all. They ain't good for us no more. They are not good for us no more.
Now that could go, you know, I always say, because when they say, when MAGA folks, they get upset if you say they're all racist, and no one is saying that they're all racist. But you have to overlook a whole lot of racism, a whole lot of things in order to support it. So is that worse? I think that's worse. Because that means what? You're compromising your values and your principles if you know that you're not racist and you believe that you're not, but you're supporting it anyways. So that applies to black people as well. That you have overlooked, a whole heck of a lot to support Donald Trump. And there is some self-hatred in there. Internalized hatred. Just like there are gay people who have internalized homophobia. And as Dale Shan says in the chat, if you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. So maybe that's why the Trump supporters are so angry. I don't know. Maybe there's some issues with being happy and loving who they are. And just living and allowing other people to be who they are. But you can decide who, you know, you want to be friends with. But I do know a lot of people from personal experience who feel exactly like that man. Don, do you remember Jimmy? We grew up with Jimmy. Yeah. Yes. Do you know that fool was a Trump supporter? I talked to him as a man, I had to leave him alone. Now, come on, you guys know that. Tell me if I'm lying. I had to leave him alone because that fool was spouting all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. Man, can you talk to him? I wish you would watch. Told him to watch you. I'm just saying. And then there are also people, you know, that I grew up with who were good friends who are white. Same thing. They think it's funny, like to send me a MAGA thing. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Wow. Feel sorry for you. I have no compunction and no shame about saying that I think that this administration is awful for America, that it doesn't believe in democracy, that it's unpatriotic, that it's un-American, because it's the truth. And there are so many examples, so much evidence to point it out. And there are even a lot of Trump supporters or people who donated. Remember I told you about all those people who were there, all the billionaires, all the media owners, CEOs. Target after around and found out when they said they were going to get rid of their DEI, and then all of a sudden people started boycotting, their sales went down. They're like, whoa, wait a minute, we take that back. Now, is Ford having a similar moment? This is Ford Motor Company. A lot of black folks own Fords. drive Ford trucks. Love their Fords. Ford, Lincoln, Mercury. Watch.
We all love a good FAFO moment, and boy, do I have one for you now. Now, before I tell you, let me give you a little bit of background as a reminder. The automotive company Ford bent the knee to Trump and donated $1 million to his inauguration committee. They also donated an entire fleet of vehicles to be used on Inauguration Day. Fast forward to today, and now Ford has changed its tune. The CEO is deeply concerned about the ongoing changes that Trump is making that could highly impact Ford's brand. As background, Ford has invested $1.9 billion in the future of their brand revolving around EVs. Meanwhile, Trump is trying to scrap any growth in the EV market in America, including directing states to stop spending money on building out infrastructure. The CEO is even more concerned about the tariffs between Mexico and Canada. He says if those go into effect, it could be apocalyptic for the automotive industry. Trump has also announced steel and aluminum tariffs that will stack on top of the 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada if those go into effect. He ended the interview by saying that they would most definitely lay people off at EV plants in Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, and Tennessee if Trump starts rolling back EV programs that the Biden administration put into place.
What I'm saying to you guys is that you think, like Bernie said, you think you don't have the power. You got the power. Target found out, Ford found out, and others can as well. You have the power to make a difference. Your dollars make a difference. They don't value the black dollar until we take it away, says Kev, the creator. You have the power. You also have the power to decide where you get your media from, who you get information from. Do you want to get it from the people who are telling you the truth or the people who are really, I shouldn't say tainted, but influenced by the corporation? Is that where you want to get it from? That's why you have to support independent media. You can do what you want. That's why you should support independent media. That's why you should hit that like button, that thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel and become a member. Because every day we're fighting to do this, to stay streaming or on the air, as they say, without all of the corporate money and the big commercial like Ford. You know, hey, Ford, come to us, advertise. Would they ever? I'm just saying, call them up, tell them, hey, look, you guys should call Ford and say, hey, you need to advertise on the Don Lemon Show, be a sponsor. If you know somebody, tell them, see if they do it. Our audience is huge. I can say that now with our 500,000 subscribers, right? Our audience is huge and growing. If you're watching us on TikTok, hit the hearts, follow us. You can follow our social media as well. If you're watching us on Instagram, on Facebook, and especially on YouTube, make sure you, like right at the bottom of your screen, there's a subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. And our social media is huge. Now, you guys tell me you see what people are effing around and finding out. Thank you, Claudia from New York City. Don, thank you for all the wisdom. You are amazing. I watched you when you were on CNN. Congratulations on your own show. We all need to pray. Thank you. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you for your support of independent media. I appreciate it. Now, you need people on your side, especially lawmakers, helping you out, right? Lawmakers helping you out. Is this the kind of energy the lawmakers need? This is Representative Garcia, who, and look, Republicans and MAGA people are like, because he said we need to bring weapons to a bar fight for democracy, and now they know what he meant. Well, I'll get you straight. Here it is. Watch.
I want to hear why, but do you think that calling Elon Musk a dick is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a dick. And I think he's also harming the American public in an enormous way. And what I think is really important, and what the American public want, is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight for democracy, for the future of this country, and it's important to push back on the chairperson of this committee. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene talks about having decorum, about bipartisanship. This is the person that lies more than anybody else in the entire Congress. And so if she is going to make a mockery of hearings, I want to make sure that us as Democrats are bringing that same level of energy. And of course, after those comments, we went into exactly what Elon Musk is trying to do, dismantling the Department of Labor, dismantling the Department of Education, dismantling all of our consumer protection agencies. And so it's all important, but it's also important to get the attention of the American public and call Elon Musk out for what he is, and to make people know that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a serious legislator, and she shouldn't be treated as such.
My question would have been, look, I love Brianna, dear friend. My question would not have been, is this okay? I would say, so representative, you called him a dick or whatever. So, what most people want to know, especially, is what took you guys so long? Where was this during the election? And then I would have explained, not that it is like questioning, of course it's good. They're meeting the energy. I can do that because I'm on the outside. Perhaps that is the way they want to frame it so that they could seem, I'm sure it is. They want to, so that they can seem objective. They're framing it that way, right? But it would have been like, hey, what took you so long? Because people have been wanting this for a long time. Do you understand that? And how are your constituents reacting to it? Do they like it? Well, this administration is not playing by the rules. So finally, you guys have figured that out. And so what's next for you in the not playing by the rules category? Right? Not that, do you think that was okay? Yeah, of course. He's a dick. That's what he said. Yeah, of course, he's a dick. That's what he said. Now, I'm not saying Elon Musk is a dick, but that guy says he's a dick, and he believes that. I thought that was a good answer. So do you think Democrats should continue to do that? Maybe you don't think it was appropriate. Do you think it was appropriate? Do you want to see more of that? Keep it coming, Democrats, says Lanice Smith. Do you guys want to see more of that? Do you want to see more of that? Was Representative Garcia correct in doing that? Now, in the category of normalizing things in people who are not qualified for certain positions, and you knew it was going to happen. All of them are going to get through. Excuse me. Here's the breaking news. RFK Jr. confirmed as Trump's health secretary by the Senate. The votes of 52 to 48 to confirm Robert Kennedy Jr., better known as RFK Jr., as President Donald Trump's health secretary. The vote follows hearings, blah, 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 blah. On his record of vaccine skepticism, that was scrutinized. Also pledged to tackle obesity and ultra-processed foods. So there should be an Oval Office press conference about his tariff policies. It's going to happen. Do you guys want to watch that bullshit? I wouldn't. That's it. Thank you for those who have been asking me how I feel. You've been asking me how I feel. Not great. So I did get a little more sleep last night, but I'm going back to bed. And yeah. I'm sorry that this is happening to you, America, but just remember that you are not alone, that you do have power. Okay? And it ain't over yet. It ain't over till it's over, and it ain't over yet. But you got to stand up. You got to demand of your politicians to fight for you, to be on your side. You have to demand that, and you have to support, you have to support independent media. Our membership link is at the top of the chat. Subscriptions are free. right there, right below the Don Lemon Show logo. If you're watching on a laptop or a computer or whatever, just subscribe. Or you can go to YouTube, the Don Lemon Show. Just look for the Don Lemon Show on YouTube. Put it in the search bar. And then you subscribe, become a member, and also get notifications to when we have stuff. So the fat lady has not sung. The fat lady is not singing since August de Winter. You're right about that. Okay, guys. My new saying is, first of all, I'm going to see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern live, right? Lemon Live at 5. Okay. And then today, Tara Setmeyer is going to do something for us at 2 p.m. Eastern time. She's going to have a little lemon drop or the Tara Setmeyer take on things. So make sure you click on that. And I want to see, someone said, I want my name to be in green in the chat. Well, you got to become a member for that. We also have a live members only tonight, says producer Nikki. And so we're going to do our live. And then after that live, we're going to have a members only live where we really talk about stuff that mom and dad can't see. The trolls can't see unless they want to pay for a membership, then they can come in. But where we really talk, where we really spill some tea. Okay. So as I say every day from now on, turn the TV off.
Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support.